Hello, everybody. Hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi,
I'm just making sure you guys can also hear me. So thank you for that. Letting people in. So bear with me. Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday. And I know I don't have my background on. Sorry about my mess. We're in my craft room. And I have a cat that's probably going to pester us. See him? Oh, say hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Okay. So it's Wednesday. We're getting closer and closer to the Thanksgiving holiday. I want to let you guys know I'm doing something really cute for Christmas for this year. I think we're gonna do 25 days of Widget and do an advent calendar. I'm working on it, okay? So work with me here, but I thought it would be neat if every day we add a new trick or a new tip or a new insight to something, because sometimes that's a lot of fun. So I know that you guys have heard me say that I went to tenant advocate group meetings before and listened to the stuff that they were saying. When I went to these meetings was thank you, Joanne. I'm just trying to think of new ways to be like, hey, how can I get little tips and tricks to you guys about random things, those stuff that we really want to know. Like if the paramedics show up at a property and they're there because somebody died in a unit, it's a really good time to say, so that it doesn't disturb the rest of my occupants, can you remove the body and take it to the hospital now? If there's no foul play, they could remove the body and then they declare it dead where? At the hospital, not in your property. Oh, so I might have little tips and tricks like that in there of, hey, if this happens, beware of this. If that happens, beware of that. And I think it's just a really neat way to keep us all involved for the holidays. I love the holidays for the most part. There's also something cool that's going to be coming up on the website. You guys should get an email. It is Thanks for Giving. So Widget is giving, and I am actually giving a Michael Kors purse out with a really cute palm fronds on it. So you should see a picture of that. I am going to raffle. It's up for grabs. Anybody wants to enter. There is no money. There is no catch. There is no price. It's my way of saying thank you to all of you for being here with me on Widget's Way. So it's the season of giving and I'm giving back. So even those of you men that need a gift for your work wives, coworkers, spouses, whatever, it would work great for that too. So please get involved. I want to hear all about it. I'm actually going to go grab it really quick so you guys can see it. And then I want to talk to you more about these tenant advocate groups. I know Arlene has some information for us, but it looks like she may be having trouble. Arlene, are you on here? Let me know.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I
Yeah.
know you have some information. So can you please share with us? You guys, please pay attention. This is really good information. And then I'm going to come right back with good information and show you guys the purse. Okay. So Arlene, please, if you would be so kind.
Thank you, Patty. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I just wanted to share something with everybody because I had a situation and I realized that I had forgotten about this opportunity and just wanted to remind people and then also ask if anybody has used this program. I have to put a roof on to my fourplex and it's going to be X amount of dollars. And then I had forgotten that they have the cap through our LARSO, that they have a program where you can get 50% of the value that you're being charged returned to you over a 5-year period from your tenants. So for example, if it was $6,000, if it was $12,000, you would have $6,000 times 60 months divided by the number of units that you have. And I need to find out, Patty, I don't know if you know the answer to this. If it's a fourplex but owner occupied, do they divide it by 4 or by 3? I don't know.
They're going to divide it by 3. The owner isn't considered a tenant.
Okay. So that's what I figured. And it can be a maximum of $55 per month. But I think, and I may be wrong, and maybe you know the answer to this, if the tenant moves out before the 5 years, I don't think you can put it onto the new tenant.
That is correct.
Yeah. So you
But
may not,
look at it this way. Aren't you just going to bring it up to market value anyway?
oh, okay. There you go. Right.
Sorry.
We don't have Prop 33. Yeah, there you
Just
go.
saying. Just saying.
So, but for any big major, things, painting the building, other things, and smaller things that I wasn't aware of that are available to use this program. You have to do it though within 12 months of the work being done. And I don't know if you have to use a licensed person because it said one of the options was hired laborer. So I think you don't have to necessarily use a licensed person, but I'm not sure.
I have a question. Arlene, what gave you the idea to check into this? I'm kidding. I know what.
Yeah, no, quite honestly, if anybody's interested, at 3 o'clock today, LAHD is doing a webinar, a Zoom meeting about this.
Okay, and Julia's asking what this program's called.
What is it called? It's called, I typed in LAHD RSO capital improvement reimbursements or something, and it came up.
Right. I knew there was a program out there. I didn't know what it was called either. It's only for RSO. Okay, so Julia, keep that in mind. But it's
So I
really
just thought
nice
I'd
to
share
know
that.
that if we have to pay to upgrade our electrical panels as they're threatening, screaming at us, whatever you want to call it, it's nice to know that we can pass some of those expenses through to the tenant, instead of sticking at our 4% and screaming, what about all of these other expenses we're incurring? And
Right.
we can only, yeah. So I completely and totally understand and agree with the whole concept. And I think it's very important that we all utilize these programs and these things that are there to help us. Even if we could raise the rent $50 a month by all these expenses we're doing anyway, we should do it. Okay.
Right.
I'm
And you
sorry.
can do one per year. If you do more than one per year, it's a $25 fee. So if you can get it in by December and then do it in January again, then, saves you
If
25.
you can work the system the way the tenants work the system, it may behoove us.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. So what is the program called? I came in late and I do apologize. It was only a few minutes late and you guys were already talking about it. So I only got like towards the end.
It's okay. Arlene has done the research on this program for us. So she's the one that has the details and all the moving pieces. So she's
Right, but
telling us about it.
I'm not in my office, so I don't have what I printed out. I'm going to try to look it up for you and see if it has
Okay.
a specific name.
Because I do have a duplex, which is in the RSO, the LAHD, I believe, RSO.
Has anybody used this program?
I know of people that have done improvements and used the program to get some of the money back. But I know of people that have done it on, and I'm just going to say more on a corporate America style. In other words, they've had to replace elevators. So we're talking about $150,000 repair. Okay. Not, and that's not replacing the elevator. That's just replacing the hydraulic pump in the elevator. $200,000 repair?
I think it's called cost recovery program.
There you go.
Thank you. Wonderful. Cost recovery.
Cost recovery.
Capital Improvement Program splits the cost of approvable expenditures 50-50 between the landlord and all tenants benefiting from the improvement. Landlords are not required to obtain the approval of tenant before making a capital improvement. And eligible improvements include the complete exterior painting of the building, landscaping, flooring, fixtures, doors, windows, fences, security items, meter conversions, major appliances, screens, window coverings, etc. The improvement must also meet the following criteria. The improvement primarily benefits the tenant. The improvement will last for 5 years or more. The improvement is permanently affixed in place or relatively immobile. The improvement was completed within 12 months of the date of the landlord's application, and the improvement is not normal or routine maintenance or repair. Once work is completed on the capital improvement, landlords have 12 months to file an application with the department. Proof that the work was done, such as an invoice, contracts, proof of payment, must accompany the application. Multiple applications may be submitted, but the maximum temporary rent surcharge that can be applied through this program at one time to each rental unit is $55. The surcharge is collected for 72 months or until the total amount approved is collected. So they figure it out. They say, for example, if it was the total cost of painting the building is $25,000, then they calculate that by 50%, which is 12.5, divided by 60 months, and divided by, this was a 24-unit building, so each unit would get $8.68 per month for each unit charge.
Well, I'll take it. And hear me out, okay? And just listen to me, you guys. I think this is the way the city is trying to reward good behavior for landlords that are actually making the repairs and doing the things that it requires to run the investment property properly. I think that the people that can't afford to do the repairs and can't afford to do these things, I think that's what the city is attacking, and they're trying their best to help us that are trying to do good. So I know it's not enough. Capping out at $55 a month for some of these repairs we're having to do is atrocious, but at least they're doing something. Okay. Number one. Number two, I had another thought. Okay. Arlene specifically mentioned painting is being covered under this. And in my mind, painting is maintenance. So if you're going to get help with routine maintenance, although they say they don't cover routine maintenance, that's exactly what painting is. You maintain your property by keeping it painted, yes? Right? We paint the eaves so water doesn't intrude, right? I mean, that's maintenance. So for them to add painting to that just made all of my firecrackers in my little brain start going off, because that's not maintenance. That is exactly maintenance. Painting is maintenance and falls on the landlord. So for them to allow you to charge back for painting tells me that the city's trying to reward a landlord that's taking care of their property.
Full building only, to Patty.
Go ahead.
Full building paint only. The entire building.
Okay, I get it, but still, sometimes we have to do exterior paint, and I see that as maintenance, not as something you could pass off to a tenant. So that's a good thing. I'm not complaining. That's just my definition of maintenance. Look at it this way. If you have to paint the exterior of your building, and we do that every 5, 10, 20 years, we do it, okay? We have to. But that's maintenance, in my opinion. So if you paint the whole exterior of your building, that's maintenance, right? We're maintaining what's there. It's not a capital improvement. So for them to add that to this makes me feel good about it. Does that make sense? Because in my opinion, it shouldn't be on there. It is maintenance. It is not a capital improvement. If you paint your building, are you capitally improving it? No, you're painting it to maintain what's already there. I mean, paint seals out the weather. It seals out the sun, the wind, I don't need to tell you, you guys know. So yay for that. Okay, let me tell you the other thing, and then I'm going to tell you something else. Okay. So it is thanks for giving, the season of giving, and you guys are going to see an email come through to win this beautiful Michael Kors bag, because Patty is giving back. New with tags, still got the things in it. It's not fancy. I mean, it's not fake. It came directly from the store. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them, but I'm giving back to you for happy Thanksgiving. And an email will go out today with this. If it doesn't go out today, it'll go out tomorrow, because let me tell you something. I got a busy day today. I don't know what happened, but it got away from me. Something happened this morning when I got up at 4 a.m. and I haven't been able to stop running in my brain, not my body. My body don't run. I'm too old for that, not unless somebody's chasing me. Okay, so next thing I want to talk to you guys about, and it's scary, okay? But I need you to know this. Remember how I used to tell you guys that during COVID, I got so sick of all this garbage, and I did it before COVID even. And I did it once during COVID, but it was like within the first year of COVID. So I want to say it was probably prior to June of 2021. Okay, so we were still in the COVID pandemic the last time I've been to a tenant advocate meeting. And it wasn't the way it is now. Let me explain. I work with several different attorneys for several different reasons. You guys all know that I used to work at a law firm. Well, working at one law firm, you get to meet the other attorneys at other law firms. Also, I was a regional property manager for 20 years. So you meet all the different attorneys when you're doing, I know a lot of attorneys, okay? And AGLA helped grow that even bigger. One of them, who's on the young side, decided to go to one of these group meetings and was appalled with the material that they were giving her. Actually, the class was taught by someone that went to the same law school she did. And yeah, they're giving these tenants everything. They're giving them the blank court document to request trial by jury and teaching them how to fill it out. They are giving them examples of answers that have been filed in other cases so that they can copy those verbatim when they go down to the courthouse. I know why they're doing this. I know why now, instead of saying, here's an attorney and they'll help you, they're giving them the document and teaching them how to fill it out. Because if the tenant can do all of this stall tactic and the attorney doesn't have to spend any time doing it, then the attorney's not wasting time and money. The attorney can sub in at any minute. They can sub in right before a jury's being chosen. They can sub in at the mandatory settlement conference. They can sub into the case at any given time. So why are they educating the tenants this way? They're teaching them how to file answers. Let me tell you, I got a whole lot of information in a very rapid fashion, and I'm going to be sticking my nose in the grinding book so I can come back to you guys next Wednesday with a full plethora of what I think they're up to and why. But I have to dig deep into all the documents and wrap my head around it. And then I need to go, don't laugh at me, drink a Red Bull, stand in a closet that I can't escape from, so I'm stuck in my own thoughts, and then just leave me there for like an hour or so, and then I'll come out and go, I know what to do. Sorry, this is a weird way my brain works, okay? Give me a Red Bull, shove me full of caffeine, and then put me in a confined space with no electronic devices, so I'm only stuck with my own brain. And nothing to do, nothing to look at, and it'll make me come up with what we need to do. It's like how I force me to do something. We all have that thing, you know? We all have that thing that makes us go. Mine's drink a Red Bull, go stand in the closet. Eventually I get tired of standing there, and then my brain just starts going. And that's what I need. It's picking my brain. All right. So I don't like what they're doing. They're not only they're giving them the legal form. They're giving them the form. This is what you go file at the courthouse. Here's how you fill it out. So you know how sometimes I teach a class, this is how you fill out a notice, and this is how they're doing that, but with court documents. I wonder if there's a way. Sorry. This just happened within 5 minutes of me going live today. So I have a lot of questions and my brain's processing. And I'm sorry, you guys have to see how my brain works. I'm so sorry. But I'm frustrated and I'm angry because they shouldn't be giving them court documents that'll be filed in a court of law. Doesn't that make them practicing law if they're telling them how to fill them out and complete them properly? It doesn't. Because I can tell you how to fill out a notice, and that doesn't make me practicing law. I'm helping with a real estate transaction. I'm sorry. Somebody asked me a question. Get my mind out of why I'm so mad at the moment, okay? Please.
Sorry, Patty, it's going to be on the same topic, but who's teaching this to tenants?
Hang
Who
on.
did you say it was?
I think it's LAHD. Hang on.
Gotcha.
It's enough to make you vomit. And I know Arlene can probably answer me too. Hang on. Sasha Struthers, attorney at law right here. You're not going to believe this, Patty. LACBA. Designed to help tenants fight evictions. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. And let me tell you what they're giving them. They're giving them the demand for jury trial. They're talking to them about evictions and how they're fast and frequent in our area. Hang on, because I'm looking at an email while I'm talking to you guys, okay? They're giving them the judicial bench guide, okay? What in the tenant's going to do with the judicial bench guide? I have no idea. They give them a sample complaint that is completed, but everything is blacked out, like the name, the case number, it's blacked out. They give them know your housing rights. Yeah. Through the DRE. They give them about the Tenant Protection Act. They give them a sample answer and instructions on how to fill it out. Oh my gosh. Okay, this just made sense to me, guys. You know, okay, I shouldn't share all this, but I now know what's going on. I found something out. Arlene, remind me something. Long answer, short answer. Okay, that's all I want you to remind me. And then hold on, because I'm going to keep digging. Okay, and then they give them the unincorporated LA docs. They give them the California Tenants Guide from Housing is Key. They give them the Department of Real Estate's guide. They're giving them a UD complete answer preparation questionnaire. Ah, so they give you a questionnaire and then they give you the answer and then they teach you how to put your questionnaire into the answer and then go file it with the court. And then they're just giving them a bunch more information. But I'm sorry, Arlene, can you please reel me back in? I went down that rabbit hole. Okay, somebody else, please remind me what I said to remind you.
You said to remind you, long answer, short answer.
Okay, that's what I was going to tell you. You guys know when you guys get an answer, it's usually like 2 or 3 pages and they just check those boxes. It's actually 7, okay? And then 9 times out of 10, they don't include the attachment 3A. 9 times out of 10. Okay. And then there's all these weird things that we don't see very often. And they have like the description of what's not habitable in the property. And again, it has all these check boxes the tenant can check. It's a court document. The courts don't give them all of that. They give them the quick 7-page answer. So if I go into the courtroom and say, hey, I'm being evicted, clerk, I need to file an answer. I'd like to get a copy of a blank answer so I can fill it out. They're going to give me the 7-page one, not the 13-page one. 13-page one is now coming from the advocate groups. That's why I was freaking out while I was reading that, because while I was reading it, I was looking through the documents and realized they're giving the longer answer that's in more depth, breadth, and detail. Sorry, but my brain works weird. I know, I'm sorry, but sometimes when I figure things out, I just grab a hold of little pieces of it, and then I need you to remind me so I can put it together in a sentence and have it make sense to regular humans, because I'm crazy. All right. What do you guys want to talk about today? All of this material be used in LA, in San Bernardino, or just LA? Well, here's what I want to tell you. These tenant advocate groups are spreading like wildfire. I don't need to tell you. You know that they're in the Fontana court. They're in the Barstow courthouse. They're everywhere. So what happens in LA usually spreads like cancer. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they all start following the same suit. For the moment, it seems to be impairing Los Angeles County. Okay. And if you want to get into more detail of where I see it happening next, it's in the counties that run along the coast. I'm not saying that it's not in counties that are inland, but it is less likely in inland counties, to answer your question. What does Patty mean by that? What happens in LA doesn't happen in Barstow. And what happens in LA in an Orange County doesn't happen in Riverside. Okay. Inland counties are more pro-landlord. Counties that run along the coast are pro-tenant. Why? Has to do with supply and demand. There's more tenants that run along the coast than there are that run inland.
Hey Patty, it's Christina.
Hey.
I have questions on rental criteria.
Sure.
So if you only have one property, does the 1 month security deposit still apply if you just have one door?
No, independent landlords can have up to 2 parcels, no more than 2 doors, and ask for the higher security deposit.
So that I can do whatever amount I want, or is there still like guidelines around that?
State law applies, which says that on an unfurnished unit, it can be up to double the amount of the rent.
2 times rent. Okay.
Fully furnished is 3 times the amount of the rent. And the reason I'm saying it that way is I know at one time you did speak of an Airbnb.
Yeah, this one's for my mom. She's renting out. She's moving out of her house.
It's okay. At least you know I have that photographic memory, you know?
Yeah. And then when it comes to FICO score, so if I have, a criteria that I'm still debating on, I'm toggling back and forth on making it 680 or 700. Whichever one I end up choosing, do all the applicants have to have that credit score, or one of the two? All applicants.
The only thing that would save them is if it was one of the 2, and please hear me out, okay? Is if the one of the 2 and they're married. A married couple you treat as one.
Okay.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way, okay? If I'm married to you, okay, and we're going to rent a house, and I don't have a job because I stay home and take care of the kids, I don't qualify. I'm not income qualified. But you're qualified, and we're married. So we're a team of one.
Is it discriminatory if they are boyfriend and girlfriend and not married and have kids? And I count them as one, or still 2?
You can't count them as one. They're not legally married.
Okay.
And that works for you in a different way. I'll explain. Okay. Hey, I'm going to move my boyfriend in. I've been living with you for 5 years. I'm going to move my boyfriend in. He's moving in this weekend and I'm going to add him to the lease. And you're like, no, you're not. I'm going to charge you additional rent. We're going to run his credit. We're going to see if he qualifies to live here. Right? Am I right? Right? The second I say, hey, I got married this weekend and I have a new husband, you're going to tell me, thank you for letting me know and congratulations. Could you please have him come in and fill out the paperwork so we can add him to the contract? Because you've been paying the rent the entire time you've lived here without a problem. He's now joining you as your one. So I can't screen him or anything else. So why it's a boyfriend, you can still deny. Once they're married, watch yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Patty, what if they're domestic partners?
Are they legally married? Because what qualifies a domestic partner in the state of California? I'd like to know. In other words, sex doesn't change it. 2 women married, they're still married. It doesn't matter if they're wife and wife. Domestic partner doesn't give them that legal protection. Right? I'm asking, not telling you.
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, what is it to say we're domestic partners? Isn't that just a boyfriend and girlfriend living together and it has a fancy name? There's no licensing, there's no tax benefits, do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
How about Section 8 tenants? If one person is only for one person, the tenancy, and they get married and bring their wife, husband into the unit.
Then you're going to notify Section 8 of the change. Key word
Okay.
there was you notifying Section 8 of the change. Because now she may not qualify for Section 8 anymore because she has a spouse that has a job that does whatever.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, thank you.
It is your obligation to work with the worker. They are on your team. Okay?
Wonderful, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, if the credit, let's say I'm looking at AGLA's criteria and I'm trying to pick it apart. If their credit isn't,
Hey, I helped write that.
let's say they have a 650, but here it's like, if you don't meet the credit criteria, you can increase the security deposit to blank times the amount of monthly rent. What is industry standard?
The law changed July 1st of 2024 and says that you can't ask for a higher security deposit past inception in the event the landlord owns more than one residential dwelling as a rental.
So in this case, it's just this person only has one door.
So the state of California then has a maximum security deposit amount. It is double the rent on a vacant unit or triple the rent on a fully furnished one. And the key word there was fully furnished. Don't go stick a couch in there and call it furnished, okay? It doesn't work that way. It's got to be furnished like an Airbnb, all the way down to the dishes. No joke.
Okay, so AGLA needs to update their form because it still has
No,
that.
you just need to tell Patty she needs to get on AGLA's butt. We need to
Okay.
revise our criteria.
Got it.
AGLA, hang on, because you guys help me all the time and you don't realize you do. AGLA criteria review. There's also a criteria on my website, just so you're aware.
Yeah, I married the two.
Okay, well, maybe I'll rewrite them so they match and then you can't do that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I gotta find humor somewhere, you guys. Come on.
If I've seen something like if there's like an adverse action, so I like you, Mr. Tenant, I want to give you this home, but since your income and credit are lower than I'd like, you know, the standard rent is $4,300, but since your credit and income don't meet my requirements, it's going to be $4,500 for you. Can I do that?
Yes and no.
Okay,
Want a more detailed answer?
please.
If I advertise one price and then when I apply, you change the price, is that considered bait and switch?
Yes. So I have to word it somehow.
No, you have to serve him with an adverse action notice and deny him under the terms that he applied. And then you can reapproach him with your new offer. But if you don't deny him first, it's bait and switch.
Okay, so deny adverse action, deny the application, then provide new terms.
Okay, that one's going on the advent calendar. Adverse, because a lot of people need to know that, agreed?
Yes.
Deny and new offer. I'm going to put that one definitely because that's an important one a lot of us don't think about. If you're going to raise the deposit and ask for a higher deposit, you need to give them an adverse action notice first, or it's bait and switch.
Even though that's now exceeding the state requirement of, so if I'm doing an adverse action, I can still get more than 2 times the rent?
No. Listen to me. If you're only advertising 1 month's rent as the deposit when you advertise, and then you run their credit and you find out their credit's not so great and you want that higher deposit, you gotta deny them first.
Oh, no, I want my 2 months if I can get it.
I completely and totally understand, but I'm trying to let you know
Got it.
how you would utilize that in the future.
Okay.
And it has to do with any of the terms that they're applying.
Alrighty, and for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, I know that since the owner can basically say whatever they want to a certain degree. Is 5 persons maximum acceptable, or is that too little for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath?
Think about it this way. What size house do you live in? How many kids do you have? Do they have their own room? Do they share a room? Are you talking about renting to one family? Are you talking about renting to 2 families? Because when you start talking more than 3 bedrooms, what you're talking about, and I'm talking to you guys out loud, is families coming together and sharing resources. Okay. How does Patty know this? Patty owns a 6-bedroom house, 3 bedrooms. If you think one husband and one wife lives in that 6-bedroom house, you're sadly mistaken. Okay. When you really start to think about it, some of the split level floor plans have living quarters downstairs and upstairs, which makes it easy for you to divide if you're going to have your brother and his family live with you. Makes sense? So what we're going to see as the economy continues to do what it's doing is we're going to see families combining resources to survive. So be ready for that. I understand, but be ready for it. I'm letting you know. Okay. If you want to put an occupancy limit, and this is real talk, okay? California building safety law says that there can be 9 people for every 690 square feet. Bullshit. Okay. With that being said, if there's 9 people in a 690 square foot studio apartment, you now have dressers over windows to accommodate their clothing and people stepping on each other in the event of a fire. It's bad, okay? But that's what the building law is in the state. As far as your property, we have something called an industry standard. But do you know what the industry standard means? Nothing. If you don't have it on your criteria and in your lease contract of a maximum occupancy. The industry standard is 2 + 1, which is 2 per bedroom plus 1 on the couch. If you do that in my 6-bedroom house, that's 13 adults. In one house? Jesus. Okay, deep breath, Patty, deep breath. Okay, let's rethink this. You can put the maximum occupancy for this property is 5 persons, no matter how many bedrooms it is. The only request I have is don't ever, 7 times never, use the word single. It's just as bad as the F-bomb. No joke. Example, this studio apartment is for single occupants only. Did I just break the law?
Yes.
Yes.
How did I do that?
Discrimination of
How?
children. Because that
Against-
mom can have a child.
Or they're not married?
Mm.
Oh, single meaning not married. Marriage is a protected class. I just discriminated and said I only want single people here. Is that because I'm a floozy? I'm not. I'm just talking out loud, okay? I don't want you to use word single for that reason. It's maximum persons are 1 occupant. Maximum persons are 2 occupants. Never use the word single.
Or
Got it.
children.
Or children or mold. And if you ever accidentally drop the F-bomb, okay, we are human. Okay, you guys, it happens. So maybe I'll put this in my advent calendar. If you ever accidentally drop the F-bomb, don't hesitate. Right behind it, say Ryan out loud. Got it? Ryan, like the name Ryan, because then it sounds like you say, fuck crying out loud.
Patty, I heard that fair housing also has its own, I don't know, rules or recommendation on how many people versus how many bedroom. Can you elaborate on?
That's the industry standard of 2+1, but it is not the law. And if you don't put it in your criteria and in your lease contract, it's really hard for your attorney to enforce it. If you put
Okay.
it on the criteria, you told them at hello. If you put it in the lease contract, it becomes a material term of the contract.
And for non-Section 8, single family, one door, I can run a background check, right?
A background check is in what? Criminal?
A criminal background check, or is that
You
no
can't
longer
just
allowed?
look at it this way. You asked me if you could. Yes. Can you use that in your determination of your applicant? Absolutely not. Felons are a protected class in the state of California. So is
Even if they've been
homelessness.
convicted, if they've been convicted for manufacturing illegal substances and that was on the report?
Hold on. If I put specifically that I don't take felony convictions for manufacturing illegal substance, I'm talking about them making drugs. And if they're making drugs, they're distributing drugs. And those two charges always go hand in hand together. Trust me, okay? So I always put manufacture of illegal substance and crimes involving great bodily harm.
And if that shows up on the criminal background report, then I can deny it.
Because of those two things, but I'm not saying I don't rent to felons. You have to define the crime if you're going to hold it against them.
Yeah, AGLA has that listed.
I know.
Exactly what you said.
I know. I wonder who wrote that.
So when the criteria says no prior felony convictions, on the criteria, do I also write
That's
criminal-
discrimination right there.
what?
No prior felony convictions.
That's what it says on AGLA's criteria.
That's discriminatory. It must say no prior felony convictions for manufacturing. Okay, if it says that,
Yeah.
you're fine.
But after that sentence, can I state that a criminal background check is going to be ran? Because I'm not just taking their word for it, I'm going to check.
I don't know that you need to disclose that.
Okay. It's just part of the screening fee. It's all part of it. Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. When we're screening an applicant, we're not just looking at their application and their FICO score. Let's be honest. If you're like me, you're Googling them. You're looking at them on Facebook, which we're not supposed to do because that could be discrimination, but you want to find out as much info. You become this little pissed off ex-wife. Okay, that's what you become because you want to find everything that you can about them. Okay, so we are running credit reports. We are running criminal background history. We are talking to previous landlords. We are looking up eviction court records. They give us the ability in their disclosure when we run their credit on everything that we're allowed to do to screen them. It's on the application. Okay. And we can do that. You shouldn't be looking at their skin color, you guys. You shouldn't be looking at any of those things that can get you in trouble discriminatory. Like when I look at somebody, I don't necessarily see ethnicity anymore. I've told my brain for so long, that's just a human. I'm just a human. We're just human. It doesn't matter what color our skin is. We all bleed the same color. So a lot of times somebody will make some kind of a humorous racial joke at me, and I just don't get it because I don't associate the different races with color in my brain anymore. I hope that makes sense. But I've tried to do that to prepare myself for fair housing so I don't do or say the wrong thing. And let's face it, it doesn't matter what color your skin is. You're either a jerk or you're not. Okay? It doesn't matter. They come in all shapes and sizes, all colors. So if you're going to determine that all jerks have purple hats with pink feathers out of them, that makes you ignorant.
Yep.
Just saying. Okay.
Last one. One last one.
Okay.
Pets. On the AGLA form, it says some pets may be allowed with additional deposits,
You can-
documentation, and pet rent.
You can nix all of that.
That doesn't apply anymore, right?
The pet rent is a stretch. Don't do it. It worked great. If you're governed by any type of rent control, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Can I say I accept small pets only? Small pets and or service and emotional support animals?
We're not going to advertise that we take wheelchairs, understand?
Got it.
Like the way I said that?
So AGLA's form says
Hold
no.
on.
may be able to
You're
take
not
that
letting
out
me answer the
tomorrow.
whole
I'm
question.
Oh,
Wait.
okay. Yeah, me too.
I've just been watching it each day, so it's holding you hostage here in the hospital.
Yep,
So
yep.
you're
So-
probably ready to go home, huh?
Yes, and I have two things holding me hostage. I haven't had
I'm
a bowel
trying to find
movement.
it. Hang on, guys.
So-
I'm
Sorry to
sorry.
get going too.
Yeah, I've been,
Ideally, we don't want straining just because it can create
I-
a little where that surgery was.
Sorry, you guys. I tried as quickly as I could. That I'm like, oh God, that is none of our business. How quick can I get this to go away? And I think I did a great job. Okay, hold on. Let me go backwards. You were asking me a question about screening. Hang on.
Yeah, you said don't advertise wheelchairs.
We don't advertise for wheelchairs, so we're not going to tell them emotional support animals, therapy animals. We're not even going to discuss it. Do you
Okay.
know that you can put in your advertisement that you only want pink papered female poodles as pets in your property?
Did you put no pets?
Hold on.
Uh,
You
I'm
can
opening
put
the
no
door.
pets, but that brings another problem. But when it comes to pets, just hear me out. You guys can make whatever rules you want. There aren't any.
But then they bring in the big Doberman Pinscher and they have a stupid letter and I have to take it anyway.
Bingo. But that wheelchair can't bark. It can't strike and bite and be annoying, or you can get it off your property because they're going to have to exchange it for a wheelchair that doesn't disrupt the right to quiet enjoyment for everyone else.
What's the best way to address pets in a criteria list?
Pets accepted, please inquire within.
How about if no pets allowed?
If you advertise no pets allowed, let me tell you what you're doing, okay? Hi, my name's Patty. I have a dog that's dog aggressive, and it can't be around other dogs. It wants to kill anything that is another dog. It can't be anywhere around other dogs. It is dog aggressive, just like on those pit bull rescue shows, okay? That's what I mean about dog aggressive. If you advertise that you don't have any pets in your building, it might make someone like me say, oh, I can go get an emotional support letter for my pit bull that can't be around other dogs and move into that property because there's no pets allowed. Paying attention? Advertising no pets is a recipe for disaster for you guys, okay? You're inviting problems, no joke. And I know you may not want pets. They pee on the carpet, they cause it, the tenants have to pay for the damages left behind. Whether their wheelchair did it, their dog did it, or their guest did it. So stop worrying about that part, okay? They're pushing for us to allow pets across the board throughout the state, and don't be shocked if they start passing laws that make us require them to have pets. They are pushing it. Go ahead.
Patty, I was going to ask this, but in San Bernardino, we can still charge additional rent for pets, correct?
Everybody else, please put on your earmuffs, okay? You can charge pet rent for pets if you're not governed by the TPA and if you're a single family resident. Why? Because you can increase rent more than 10% and not get in trouble. Hear me out. The reason these people are getting in trouble is the tenant lives there, okay? And the maximum rent increase they can do is 4%. Tenant lives there for a year and then says, I got a dog. And then the landlord says, oh, you have pet rent now. It's $100 a month for you to have your pet here. Is that an illegal rent increase? You got to be careful. All those little things that we were able to charge for and nickel and dime them to death before, it's gone. The playing field has changed. We're now playing Clue, no longer Monopoly, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is, yeah, it was great until it wasn't, and then we can't do it anymore. But in some areas we are able to, okay? But look at it this way. If you have an apartment building and it's governed by the Tenant Protection Act and you can only raise the rent 8% per year, and you raise the rent every year, 8%, 8%, 8%, and on year 3, your tenant gets a dog and you tell them it's gonna be $50 more a month for pet rent. Keyword there was rent. And you add that $50, are you breaking the law? Yes, you are.
Even in a property where you're exempt from statewide rent control?
No, that's the only way it works. And
Well, this-
outside of LA County. But it's a matter of time, I'm telling you, and you got to be careful how you maneuver through it, because opposing counsel is going to argue with you. So before you say this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do this, what I'm going to tell you is, you know that attorney you're going to hire to stand up next to you and protect you in court? Ask them if they're okay with that. That's me being honest with you, okay? I know you don't like it when I say that, but remember, attorneys will only take on a case they're willing to argue in court. And if they're not willing to take on the argument we're talking about, then you probably shouldn't do it. They know better than I do how these judges will rule, okay? So I'd ask them first. Hey, I know we can't do this in LA County anymore, but on a single family residence in San Bernardino County exempt from the TPA, is that a possibility? Because it all is going to be what they're willing to argue. Okay?
Patty,
That's why sometimes when you guys ask me a question, I immediately give you the argument from the other side and you go, whoa, because I've heard it before. I know what they argue. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, could I, for example, say, unless service or emotional animal, no pets over 25 pounds? Is that okay?
Why are you going to advertise anything about the emotional support animal? You understand? All
Okay.
you're going to say is maximum pet weight is 25 pounds.
Okay, that's okay though, right? Okay.
Max, because it's a pet. Stop. I don't want you to talk about the wheelchairs. Don't even talk about them.
I got it. Thank you, Patty.
No problem. Wheelchairs are coming whether we want them to or not. So don't encourage people to go, oh, that's right, I can get a letter and then I can make it all happen, and they can't say no. So we don't want to plant any seeds, any ideas, and that's why we don't advertise it. We don't talk about it. We don't want them to know. We don't want to trigger a memory of a friend that told them something 2 years ago, and then they go, oh yeah, if I do that, I don't have to pay. We don't want the, that's why I'm like, just don't even talk about it. Don't mention it. Don't reignite a memory inside someone. Don't discuss it. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
You have some things in your chat, Patty.
Okay, thank you. For a 3-bedroom, I gotta go way back. Hang on. What is my experience with tenant caused damage getting it covered by renter's insurance? It depends on the extent of the damage. A lot of them will say, oh, they lived that way. If it's just ick, for lack of a better word. Okay. And even your own insurance company will tell you that. Well, this isn't damage or vandalism. This is just the way they lived. Okay. And that kind of falls back on you a little bit because they're going to immediately ask you, when's the last time you went into the property? So keep that in mind. But yeah, I've had a lot of things covered by tenants' renters insurance. I had a tenant that hammered a nail into the wall and hit the hot water supply line for the water heater on the other side. Their insurance covered that. I had a tenant that hammered a nail into the wall and hit the electrical line and shorted out the electrical in 3 rooms of the house. Their insurance covered that. I had a tenant that and I don't know why the tenant's insurance covered this, but I just went with it, okay? I had a tenant in an Airbnb, for lack of a better word, that put hot water in a cold spa and its cylinder cracked from jet to jet to jet to jet and then fell into the garage on his Porsche. Oh, the insurance covered that too. So, hey, yeah, they cover all kinds of things, believe it or not.
Patty, can I say no felonies with few exceptions?
No, you have to define the crime.
You have
Okay, you
to.
can't say no felonies with a few exceptions. You have to say no felony convictions for this crime, this crime, this crime, but all other crimes are okay. You have to give an okay.
Patty, on AOA, I think they said something along the lines of no convictions that would affect real property. Is that?
Why do you think I stick with great bodily harm and manufacturing illegal substance?
Because it's specific. Or-
Well, and not only is it specific, hear me out. It has to do with all crimes, including drugs, because when they charge somebody for selling, they also get them for manufacturing because it's already distributed in baggies. Does that make sense? That's how they get them for both charges every time. So anytime anybody has a drug charge, they also tag on manufacturing. Anytime there's an assault, arrest, a domestic violence, it's all crimes with great bodily harm. Okay? So it just blindly covers, but it defines the felony, because you know what? I will rent to somebody with felony parking tickets, no problem. It happens. So boyfriend and girlfriend do both have to be qualified with credit and income? Yes. And what about gross or net? That's up to you what you pick. It's gross what we actually net to take home, but hey, that's how I figured that out. Yes, for a 3-bedroom, 1,600 square foot house, you can say maximum persons is 5. But in order to enforce that, it needs to be in your criteria and on your lease contract. When working with AGLA regarding forms, can you see if they can put a search bar like CAA? It makes it easier to find the forms. Search, so you want to search for forms?
Yes, please.
Yes, it's really difficult to find forms on there the way they have them.
And how do you want to search for them? By title of the document or by the form number?
By the
The
title.
title, the title. Or if you look at the way CAA does it, they do it that way. But
Arlene, I know.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know, Arlene. I'll
Yeah.
talk to them about that, okay?
yeah, but it really is very, because they add new forms and you don't know there are new forms. They should maybe send out an email letting people know that there are new forms.
Email notificate, hold on. And then email notification of new forms.
Or
Or a
And then-
changes.
drop down arrow
Or-
with the new forms.
New
Mhm.
forms. Or how about if we put like an asterisk by a new form, so you guys know it's new?
Mhm. Yeah. I think they
Document,
write new, I think they write new next to some of them now.
okay. As long as we can document, I'm good. All right.
Yeah.
You guys are laughing at me. This is how you get to AGLA? Yep. This is how you
I'm
get to
sorry, Patty.
AGLA.
I have a question going back. Let's say that the partner or the husband, the wife, they don't qualify for your criteria when you do the credit check. What happens? They're married. What do you do?
You mean the husband qualifies, but the wife doesn't?
One of them don't. The one that is in the unit, well, they're already in the unit. I have a lady that married a wife, her wife, and well, I heard rumors that she told me she was gonna get married. I need to call her to see if she already got married, and then if the wife is gonna, because she told me her wife was gonna move in. So I need to find out if they actually did get married. But let's say the wife doesn't qualify for, or she doesn't meet your criteria for your credit check.
I'm gonna try again, okay? Why they're girlfriend and girlfriend, it's an unauthorized occupant that you can evict for. The second they get married, they become one, and she doesn't need to qualify because her wife is already living there and has been paying the rent successfully without her.
Well, actually, she qualifies for full payment of rent, and in Section 8 is paying her rent.
Okay, but once you're notified that they're married, your obligation is to notify Section 8.
I will do that, yeah, because on the letter that I just received not too long ago, it still shows as one person in the unit. So I will contact the tenant and then contact Section 8. Thank you.
No problem. Ruben, are you here? Because I want to make sure I'm answering your questions. These are very important questions. And I'm actually gonna write, hang on, because I'm making myself a note. We're gonna put this security camera. Okay, first of all, I need you to do something to protect your own assets, okay? You're not gonna use the word security camera. You're gonna use surveillance. Let me explain to you why, okay? When you say to a tenant, we have security cameras, what you're telling them is somebody is watching those cameras 24/7. And as a crime is happening, they're notifying law enforcement. Now, you and I both know that we're not offering that kind of service. So they're surveillance cameras. Do not make the mistake of using the word security because the tenant will come back and challenge you.
All right. Well, my question is more towards
And I got you. Can an owner restrict cameras? Yes, you can tell them that you don't allow tenants to put up Ring doorbells and things of that nature because it's a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord, and you cannot allow it on your premises because it affects the right to quiet enjoyment for neighboring residents. I mean, what if the tenant in possession sets up a couple of cameras and the truth of the matter is he's some creeper stalker child pedophile thing watching the school kids come and go? That's not okay. And if we're not telling them they got to take it down, then are we facilitating that crime? Yes. No cameras unless they're mine. And they're surveillance cameras, not security cameras. And I only release my footage to law enforcement. Thank you.
perfect.
Sorry, I want to make sure that you grab that all the way around and hold on to all of it because it's got a few moving pieces in there that can be tricky. As far as you placing cameras, you can place cameras around the common area, you can place cameras in the parking area, you can place surveillance cameras anywhere you choose, as long as it's not going into someone's bedroom window. We're not creepers, right? And you're not pointing specifically at one person's front door. But Patty, I have a courtyard and I have 6 people's units that all face that courtyard. Great. Put a camera up in one corner that's back far enough it shows all 6 doors, and then you're not doing anything wrong. Okay? No worries. And then I always put up signs, video surveillance, and that's all it has to say is video surveillance. Not you're being monitored 24/7, because that gives them the idea that you're providing security, and we're not doing that.
In a non-RSO single family home criteria, if I put applicant's gross income must be at least 3 times the amount of the monthly rent. AGLA also says, unless the applicant is able to demonstrate creditworthiness via other means, such as investment, savings, or guarantors. Do I have to put that, or can I just want their income to be 3 times?
You have to put that, and let me explain why.
Okay.
Right? If the person coming to you is on a federally funded program and applying from VASH, the Veterans Assisted Supplemental Housing Program, or Section 8, they don't have to have a FICO score. Their requirement is now their ability to pay you. So with that being said, you can't run their credit and have them have a minimum FICO. That doesn't work anymore. What you have to do is
Month to month.
judge. You knew that part. Okay, so good for you there. But what you have to do is base their application on their ability to pay you. In other words, if they don't have a job and their portion's $100 a month, they don't qualify. If their portion's $26 a month and they have a job that makes them $80 a month, they qualify because they make 3 times their portion. So for this time, we can't do that anymore. We have to do with the credit score, because they don't have credit. We have to, or they don't have good credit. So we have to base their ability or base their application on their ability to pay us and nothing else. So no FICO score if they're federally funded, Section 8, BASH, anything along those lines.
Can I put on my criteria that I only accept month-to-month tenancies? Or is that something that's verbally said once they tour the property?
You need to be aware that some municipalities, meaning cities, require you to have a 1-year contract at inception, and some of them require you to renew that 1-year contract. So I understand what you're telling me, but what I'm trying to say, and I'll give you an example. If you're in the city of Santa Monica, they require a 1-year lease at Hello. So that will not work for you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How about, Patty, one more question. How about if they, for example, Section 8, their government, they
Subsidized
receive
housing. Yep.
yes,
am
and
with you.
they receive, all they have is like their Social Security or whatever government checks they receive. And that will be enough for like to pay their portion, and we probably won't even know about their portion until after they get processed. So how should we handle that with Section 8 participants?
Patty, I asked the caseworker, they tell you, even before they send over the contract, they give you an idea.
They give you an idea. Usually they'll give you a rough estimate so that you can work with it. That usually works pretty good. They seem to be doing their inspections faster. They heard us crying. We can't wait 60 days to see if our unit's up to their standard. So they are getting much better on that. I would communicate with the worker and talk about it. And and remember that month-to-month term comes in real handy is, oh, I'm sorry, the owner of this property is not interested in a term for time. They're only looking at a month-to-month contract, but thank you. And that's what you can say to detour the 1-year contract at Hello. But yeah, usually the worker will give you an idea. It's not exact, it's just an idea. And from what I understand from a couple of people within the housing authority, don't be shocked, okay, if we start to see a huge shift in the housing authority. And I'll explain. And we've already seen it. We're just not recognizing what's happening, okay? I'm going to ask you guys a question. Has your HAP amount went down and the tenant is responsible to pay more? You've probably seen that in the last year to 2 years. Does anybody disagree with that?
You're definitely correct.
I'm definitely correct. So what we're seeing, you guys, is that the government is paying less and less of their portion now and making them pay more and more of it. Why does this matter to us, Patty? Remember during COVID, those of us that had Section 8, all of us got our rents paid because it's paid by the federal government? Well, I think the federal government's sick of the, for lack of a better term, I call them the gimme gimmes. And let me explain, because it doesn't do with an ethnicity and it doesn't do with a color, okay? I call them the gimme gimmes. And those are the people, those of us humans that say, give me this and give me that and give me, give me relocation fees, give me my attorney's fees, give me. I call them the gimme gimmes, okay? Because they're give me this, give me. And they could be collecting welfare on children that were never born. I mean, that's what abusing the system, using it to their advantage. I'm going to throw everything that I can at you, okay? I call those people, those humans, the gimme gimmes, because let's face it, they're gimme this, gimme that, gimme. Okay, now ask me your question again, David, about the gimme gimmes.
I didn't ask you any question like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked me a question about a tenant. Ask me your question again. Help me out here. No? Wasn't you?
I have a question though, Patty,
Okay,
on
great.
the
Thank
Section
you.
8. I did get a notice from Section 8 saying that funds are drying up. And so the, yeah, now my tenant is paying a whole lot more than what they were used to paying. But isn't that setting them up for, in a sense, failure when I guess we have no other choice but to only do their portion at 3 times the rent? But if their portion right now is $25 and we have to approve the application.
You can't base their portion on that. You have to base their portion on their ability to pay you, period, end of report. So you're right with their ability to pay. If they make 3 times their portion, they can live there, yes.
But next year funds dry up and now they have to pay for pretty much all of it, with the exception of maybe now Section 8 is only going to pay $25 and they're going to pay everything else. They can't afford it. Then what?
If you don't get your rent money, I suggest you serve a 3-day and start eviction.
Okay, got it.
It's going to be part of the reset. Does that make sense? I don't think Section 8 is going to be. Let me tell you guys something. 15 years ago, I evicted somebody because their rent was $4 a month and they didn't pay it for 3 months. $4. For a long time, I was known as the $12 eviction bitch. Okay, I'm just saying. But man, I'm paying your rent. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I'm paying your rent. And you have to pay $4 every month. And the reason you told me you didn't want to come in and pay me, it was a lot of effort for not a lot of money. So I took a lot of effort for not a lot of money and got you out of the property, didn't I? $12 I evicted somebody for. $12.
Hattie, was that when you were working in corporate America, or was that for your personal property? Because I know
that was
you would.
me working at corporate America.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, If that was my personal property, I'm financially connected and I'm not going to spend $60,000 to $80,000 over 12 bucks. That worked great 15 years ago. I wouldn't do it today. Okay. But if they get evicted, they don't get Section 8 anymore. They lose it. They're kicked off the program.
Which I would think people on Section 8, because I have tenants who are on Section 8 and they're amazing. I really do love them. I love the Section 8 program.
I have a couple that are awesome. Yeah,
They're
I agree.
awesome. But then I hear about that one lady's story. I don't know if her name's Marion, but I was really surprised when she said her tenant is Section 8. So I'm like, why would go through all of that to potentially lose that funding or that portion?
It seems to be the mentality of the county of Los Angeles at this time. I can't answer your question because it doesn't make sense to me either. Does that make sense?
Yes, got it. Thank you.
It doesn't make sense to me either. I've been trying to wrap my head around it. But I will tell you this, I am going to dive very deeply into these documents that they're giving tenants that are facing eviction and see what they're teaching them. And who knows, in the near future, you maybe see me in one of those webinars because and all I can say to you is this, I promise not to point you out if you promise not to point me out, okay? If I see you and I turn my head and put my head down, that's not the time for us to chit chat, okay?
I have a question. If you think that they're going to start limiting the amount of Section 8, in other words, Section 8 people are going to have to pay more, how are we going to know about that this is coming?
Let me explain. So when you have a Section 8 tenant, every year you get a new HAP amount, H-A-P, okay? And it's the Housing Allowance Program, blah, 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 blah. And what they do is they figure out with the tenant based on how much money they made for that year, how much their payment's either going to go up or go down. Make sense? If they have 2 more kids in that time period, maybe they have twins, maybe the portion that they have to pay is going to go down more. Make sense? And not up. But what we're seeing across the board is there's not a huge gap in the difference anymore. It used to be, as an example, Section 8 paid everything but $12. And the tenant had to pay $12 every month or $46 every month. But what we're now starting to see is it's almost half and half. Okay? It's now getting to the point where Section 8 is paying less and the tenant's paying more, but they're still helping. And that's what it was supposed to do the entire time, was offset things. The problem is the numbers they used to calculate the offset benefited the tenant and they were able to do more things, right? I mean, the whole reason they built the Section 8 program is so tenants could save money because the government was helping to pay their rent so that they could purchase a home. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen in the way the numbers are now, but that's why it was designed, just so you know.
Oh, come here.
Okay, and then I see something else. Okay, you'll text me later, no problem. Everybody's laughing. If anybody has anything else, let me know now. Otherwise, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna go dive into that. I gotta call Agla. I got a busy day, folks. Busy day. If anybody needs anything else, feel free to give me a call. Do not use the 855 widget 5 number. I'm getting rid of that. And I will see you guys back next Wednesday. And watch on the website because we are going to raffle off this beautiful Michael Kors bag. It's so cute. All right, you guys, have a great week.
Patty, sorry,
Yes.
can I have your phone number again?
760
760
953
3
3337.
7. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. They just want to charge me $1,000 to have that 855 number. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying $1,000 for that. No. All right, you guys have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.